Good morning. My name is Kelly Rogotsky, and I work in the JA office. If you are in the Sioux Falls and Harrisburg district, you have received emails and phone calls from me and have probably had communications. If you are from a statewide area, from somewhere different than Sioux Falls or Harrisburg, you have heard from Tessa. So we're kind of your contacts throughout the year. We'll kind of walk you through what JA is going to look like this year. Feel free after this training, if you have additional questions, to please reach out to one of us. We are happy to help and answer those questions. So first off, we want to say congratulations, you made it onto Zoom, which is half of the struggle of getting through a virtual class. So just like your JA classroom, you are going to receive a link from your teacher. It may be a Zoom link, it could be Google Classrooms, whatever they are choosing to use for their district. So we just want to make sure all volunteers understand we need to use the school provided link from your teacher and not a link from your organization or from a personal account that you have. So your teacher is going to send you that link. It'll be the same thing. You will click on that link no matter what platform it is, and you will type in a passcode. Your teacher will then let you into your classroom virtually, so you'll be able to beam in and have that experience with the students. So once you're in the classroom teaching JA, it's going to look a little bit different for those of you that are past volunteers to compare to what it usually does. So traditionally, you go into the classroom, you have that JA bag full of materials. This year, you're going to be focusing on your career and past careers. So you're going to be highlighting a program called Career Speaker Series. We're going to walk through what that program looks like and how your 30 to 45 minutes virtually in the classroom is going to feel this year. In your assignment email, you would have received a link to the curriculum. So when you click on that link, you're going to see a web page that looks like this. This, for all kindergarten through 5th grade, everyone is doing Career Speaker Series, but you're going to notice there's a different articles for each grade level. And that's because when you're talking to a 3rd, 4th, or 5th grader about careers in your journey, it's going to sound a little bit different than if you're talking to a kindergartner and the questions you're going to ask back and forth. So we know that JA students learn best by getting to actually do something. So we have done our best to still make sure this virtual experience is still interactive and fun for the students. Both Tessa and I have been piloting and teaching JA classes virtually this first semester to get a feel for it, to kind of understand and think, okay, here's what a JA volunteer is going to need to know before they go into the classroom. And we would both be able to tell you that the students were excited to have JA this year. So even though it looks different, when we logged on, I had classroom cheers. They were ecstatic that it was JA. They had someone else still connecting in. They got to hear about my different careers that I've had. And so they are still excited to have JA. So no, even though it looks different, you are still making an impact on the students and they are excited to hear about your careers. We've had some volunteers ask, why Career Speaker Series? Like, what was this program? There's a fun stat that came out from JUSA, and 51% of volunteers, or 51% of students actually choose their career based off of a JA volunteer that they had and they learned about it. So one of the big components of junior achievement is really that career readiness and allowing students to learn about multiple different fields for them to have an idea of what might interest them in the future. So when you're on this main screen, you're just going to click the green button to view whichever curriculum you need to go into. For today, we're going to pretend that we're teaching a 1st or a 2nd grade classroom. Once you click in on this site, you're going to see the curriculum, an optional student worksheet, and a virtual presentation checklist. That optional student worksheet is for the teacher, so you do not have to worry about that. Some teachers may choose to print that worksheet out for students to fill in while you're doing your presentation. Some teachers may choose to do 100% verbal. So know that that's there, but you don't have to worry about that. That's for the teacher's use. Before we jump into the curriculum, I'm going to walk through the virtual presentation checklist and just highlight a few things for you guys that we want to make sure that you see. One really big thing that we would encourage this year, since it's a virtual platform, is for you to try to schedule with your teacher, if they have time, a 5 to 10 minute dry run of logging on to their platform and getting to see what you're going to see when you log on. So for example, I've had different experiences with every classroom I've been in. In one classroom, I was able to see the entire class on a panel view camera. Another classroom did not have that technology. And so they were on a 1-to-1 ratio with their Chromebooks, which we thought was going to be the best option. And if I was to teach additional classes, I would probably prefer the third method that I had, where a teacher used one Chromebook and walked around the classroom. So I wasn't able to see all the students when the teacher did that, but it was easier to hear the students and to have the conversations back and forth. So when they were on the 1-to-1 ratio, I found I had a 5th grade class and they were really excited about the chat feature. So they like to type in the chat feature instead of talking verbally and asking the questions that they had or sharing their experiences. So there was a little bit of lag where I had to wait to read the chat. So your classroom teacher can help you determine what is the best plan for you. They may say, no, 1-to-1 works really great for us, and they have a plan of how they've done other things. If that's their suggestion, by all means, absolutely go with that. We just want to make sure that volunteers know when you log onto the classroom, you may not get to see all of the students. In a perfect world, every school and every classroom would have all the technology needed to see everybody and for you to be able to interact and see all their hands raised. But that might not be possible in every room. But know that even if you can't see the students, they're still excited and you'll probably be able to hear them. The teachers do a great job of jumping in and help to be interactive and kind of passing around to help answer questions. It's harder when you are virtually, you can't see their name tags on their desk to call them by name. So that's where the teacher really jumps in, and when you ask a question, then they're able to help call on a student. They can respond, you can hear, and still have that dialogue back and forth with them to make it interactive. One other thing to note on this checklist is to make sure that your device properly reflects your name on it. So one example I can give you is I am part of a Dovia group, which is a volunteer agency, and we had a Christmas party and we had to change our names to a Christmas theme thing. So my name was Santa on the Christmas party. I forgot to change my name when I ended that call. The next morning, I hopped onto a Zoom call with the admins for the middle school district, and my name appeared as Santa when I was in their waiting room to go in. So I didn't realize I forgot to change it until I got in. They all got a good laugh out of it, thought it was funny, but just a fun reminder to make sure your device, whatever that is going to pop up in the classroom waiting room. So try to remember to have it as your name when you're going into the classroom to help your teacher also know that it's you waiting to log into their room. Now we're going to jump into what the curriculum looks like. If you've had a chance to look through this, you're going to notice there's a lot of dialogue and conversation still. So we know students learn best from JA by getting to do, and this still allows them to be able to have that interactive back and forth with you without just listening to you talk for 30 to 45 minutes. We've had a lot of volunteers say, I don't know what I'm supposed to tell students for 30 to 45 minutes about my job. My job is not going to be that exciting to them. They wouldn't understand what it is I'm actually doing. So we have built this curriculum so that way you are able to share past experiences all the way up to your current job. If you want to start with your very first job that you had, my first job was a paper route. So every day after school, I got on my bike and I rode around town and delivered the papers to the people who had ordered that subscription. So I will pull stories from that to kind of share with them the first things that I have done to help relate on their level. And you can share all the way up to your current job. Also keep in mind, like they don't understand every job that's available. So for them, if they're thinking healthcare, if they're having a volunteer come in, they're thinking a doctor or a nurse. So they know what a doctor or a nurse does based off of their visits. But we also know there's lots of things that doctors and nurses do besides the nurse coming in and taking your temp and weighing you and asking you a few questions about how you feel before the doctor comes in. So there are other things you're able to share with them. Similar to banking, if they're thinking about the banking industry, they probably just think of the person, the teller behind the desk, that when they go in with mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, and they withdraw money or deposit it, that's what banking is someone just gives you back and forth money. But in reality, there's all those different sectors of banking that they would have the opportunity to learn about. So as we scroll through this, you're going to see there's still that opportunity for you to introduce yourself and talk about your company. There's going to be questions that you're going to ask the students to focus on what they're interested in, what kind of careers they have. And then we want you to tell students things that might surprise them about your job. You may have something fun you want to share with them or show them from your workplace. If you have a tool or something you use that helps you, you're welcome to show and tell that while you're doing your presentation. This whole setup for JA this year really focuses on, you're going to ask the students a question, then you're going to share with the students, and then you're going to connect with them. So there's a whole bunch of dialogue to have that back and forth conversation. There is more content in this curriculum than you will be able to get through. We purposely added extra stuff in to make sure that volunteers didn't feel that they were not going to have enough to talk about to fill that 30 to 45-minute time frame. So please know that you do not have to get through every single thing on this curriculum and worksheet, that's okay, and that we have just placed more on there to make sure that volunteers feel like they're set up to be successful. You're going to notice some asterisks on these as well. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, this aligns with the Common Core standards. So that's what the state curriculum standards are. So if you want to see what we're teaching in JA this year and how it relates to those standards, you're able to do so there. That also helps the teachers kind of determine which standards are being hit by JA as well. So this is the overall kind of gist of what JA is going to feel like this year. We're excited to have you guys still teaching JA in the classroom, and we really appreciate the commitment that you are giving to the students by beaming in virtually and trying something new this year. So thanks for being a JA volunteer. Tessa, I'll have you stop recording and we're going to